Bristol Zack Tawatari here in the KHO 11 newsroom following another Texans victory, this time 38-30 over the Colts in Week 18 as the Texans somehow, after an 0-3 start, end up 12-5. And now, Zach, all eyes are on Sunday Night Football for Ravens and Steelers.
9 wins in a row. Pretty incredible when you think about, like you said, that 0-3 start. And now with the Ravens and the Steelers coming into focus, it's like, who do you want to play? I don't know. I mean, they seem like pretty equal teams, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
I think I know which one I'd rather see, to be honest with you. To me, it's pretty much a knee-jerk reaction. Like, okay, I'd much rather see one over the other. We're also, per usual, taking our one word from all of you, one word to describe what you saw on KHO 11. As we are currently waiting for Demeco Ryans and CJ Stroud to hit the podium at NRG Stadium. I imagine it may take a little longer than usual, being that I'm guessing there'll be some celebration in there that they were able to close out and lock up the fifth seed in the playoffs. Obviously, the Texans could not win the AFC South today because the Jaguars pummeled the Titans. Cam Ward, Brazoria County, was injured in that game. But again, you have the Jaguars 1, the Texans 2, and now you're looking ahead. But when we look at this game and take a look back, do you have a word yet?
I got a word.
Okay. Let's see here. I've got a word as well. And of course, we're looking for your word as well. If you are watching on our KHO 11 Facebook page, that's what I have pulled up. So if you're watching somewhere else, head on over to the KHO 11 Facebook page as well. And that way, I'll read your comments as they come in here on our postgame show, if you will. Okay, what's your word? I did see it. I couldn't not see it, but what is it?
My word is swarm. The Texans have swarmed their way into the playoffs, which I have come to learn means getting just enough when you need it. That's my definition for swarm. So they did it.
Swarm in the Zack Tawatari dictionary is
converge at the last second.
Get just enough. But really, though, when you look at this game, the defense did not hold.
They did not.
The Colts.
No.
I'm looking here at the stats.
They did not.
They allowed 354 yards of total offense, 339 the Texans gained, and it was a typical Kaimi Fairbairn helping.
He's the hero.
He's their most valuable offensive player.
He actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's no disrespect. He really is.
All right, so you did,
I did
Swarm. I have dramatic. It was a dramatic win.
Isn't it always?
That's true. You're right. I mean, the 9 wins in a row, which ties a franchise record. I think the last time they did that was 2018.
Here's the thing. Even when the Texans win, even when they score more points, it still comes down
to the final
possession,
final minutes,
final possession, final minute. You know, still comes down to it.
Mary Rose is checking in with a Texans 1 and throwing her H's up. Looking at the stats here, the Texans had 22 first downs. The Colts had 19. Third down efficiency. For having the best defense in football, and granted, I know it wasn't always on the field in this one, mostly in the first half, but the Colts were moving the ball in the first half. 8 of 15 for Indianapolis, 4 of 13 for the Texans. Both teams ran 64 plays. I already mentioned the total yards. Then you look at the turnovers. It was 3 for the Colts, obviously, 0 for the Texans. They lost 2 fumbles and throw 1 interception. That's the Colts. Penalties, again, is an issue, but that's what we're used to with these Texans. 7 for 77 yards. The Colts also had 7, and they were penalized 81 yards.
The explosive plays are something that still bothers me because for as good as this defense is, as fantastic as they are, the best defense in the NFL, they do give up a couple explosive plays per game.
I wonder if watching if how much the other teams in the playoff dance will look at this game as a little bit of a primer on what to do. Now, you didn't have Kamari Lassiter, and that's huge. That's huge for the Texans.
There's no question about that. But even with Kamari, right, the Texans have shown that they give up 1 to 2 big explosive plays per game. And it kind of goes back and forth, whether it's an explosive pass play or an explosive rushing play. They have been vulnerable to that throughout this year. I mean, even when you look back to last season as well.
Bonnie's checking in. Leslie is here. Mary Rose says victory. I assume that's the one word. Leslie says comes down to we won. Without a doubt. This was an important game. Let's just throw it out there. It is what it is. The Texans' playoff seeding was going to be determined by this game as well as some others, and the Texans, being that they won, lock up the 5th seed. Bonnie says max. I assume like max effort, maybe at the max. So I've got max and like victory. Those are some of the words that we have thus far to describe this game. C.J. Stroud, 14 of 23, 169 yards, a touchdown, no sacks again. Give this offensive line credit.
From where they started at the beginning of this year, it's a huge turnaround.
Woody Marks.
He ran the ball effectively.
10 carries, 48 yards, 4.8 average. British Brooks in second half action. He also had 4.8 yards per carry. And the defense holds Jonathan Taylor, arguably the best back in football, to 1.9 yards a carry. Jonathan Taylor, 14 rushes, 26 yards.
They've got certain guys' numbers. Jonathan Taylor's one of them. The Texans defense. Josh Allen seems to be another one of them, like these star players that play really well against seemingly everybody else but the Texans.
Jackie says, unbelievable. Miracles do happen. Judy says, awesome. Jackie, could you be a little more specific? What is the unbelievable part? That the Texans rallied to win this game, or the fact that they started out so poorly and are now the first wild card team, if you will? I'm just curious what you're mentioning or talking about or thinking there. Monique says, indescribable bliss. Listen, compared to where this season started, and I'll be honest, when you look at history and teams which start 0-3, I kind of wrote this team off. I wrote this team off.
They're only the 6th or 7th team.
Not the people inside that building, NRG.
Well, you're right about that.
We know that.
We know that. We have proof of that.
Yep.
Soundbite proof of that.
Yes, we do. Will Anderson, 6 tackles. EJ Speed, 6 tackles. Damone Clark, 6 tackles.
Kavon Wallace, that was a name that we were talking a lot about coming into this week, of course, filling in for Kamari Lassiter. That first 66-yard touchdown, a couple plays into the game. Don't exactly know whose fault that was. Kavon Wallace was in coverage there. But, yes, he was there. He also made a nice play on a tackle for loss.
Well, Tremont Smith was, I think, in that first the touchdown, the long one in the first half. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. I don't know. There was clearly some breakdown or communication issues there. Let's see. Also in that defensive category, you have one touchdown, which is what the Texans love to see. Granted, this time the game was already in hand, per se, because it was coming on the final play of the game. But that's now the second touchdown by the defense?
Yeah. What about Tommy Togiai in the backfield today?
Yeah.
They missed the handoff. CJ takes it in himself. I was rooting for Tommy Togiai to get
Sure.
a touchdown. CJ can get another touchdown himself at some point, but I don't know if we're going to get to see Tommy Togiai in the backfield again. Oh, it's interesting.
You never know.
A little bit of
Would you rather see that
creativity?
Would you rather see that or the Stoverdozer?
I think I'd rather see Tommy Togiai in there.
Jackie says yes, and the touchdown. So that's what she meant by unbelievable miracles do happen. Reginald says the NFL needs to give our Houston Texans a lot of credit. They continue to doubt. Steven.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are pretty high on the Texans right now. There's a lot of chatter that they could go deep into the playoffs based on their defense.
And the fact that there is not one overwhelming favorite in the AFC right now.
Those two things work equally together in terms of how deep the Texans can go, or the projections at least for how deep they can go.
Steven's checking in. Good to see you, Steven. He writes, prevail. Hulez says, boom, mic drop. We've got nail biting. Zach's going to have to help pick up the slack here.
Okay, I'll write some down.
Let's see.
Okay.
Hector says, awesome.
Okay, I got this one.
Doris says, unbelievable.
Oh, I was just writing that one down. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doris.
Seth, good to see you checking in. What's up, guys? I see Seth, and also worth noting that Imai, the new Astros pitcher, he was at the game and throwing up the H's in a box with Jim Crane and Scott Boras, his agent, and of course, he will be introduced by the Houston Astros on Monday afternoon.
That will be definitely something to be at. I'm sure that's going to be a very packed press conference.
Bruno says nothing to write home about. Linda says, yes, I definitely have confidence in my Texans. You go, boys. Martha says, congratulations. So, listen, give the Texans tons of credit. There are a lot of good coaches in the Coach of the Year race, and I don't know if Demeco Ryans will truly receive the credit he deserves, but to come back from 0-3, 3-5 to be at this point, it's nothing short of remarkable in my book, especially when you consider how the offense was working. And now let's go to Demeco Ryans at NRG.
First off, just as always for me, what an awesome game. But it's all glory and praise goes to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Just thankful for such a incredible regular season. Our guys were able to accomplish a lot of great things, no matter how dim it looked to start the season. Just proud of our guys for continuing to battle every single week, finding a way to win games, and to now, finish on a high note, winning here versus a really good team. Really proud of our guys.
Demeco, did you find yourself at all during the game paying attention to the score of the Jacksonville game, and what went into when you decided to take your players out?
Of course, I saw the score of the game, and Jacksonville was up, so we got a few guys out. I guess, and that's the whole thing about, everybody's talking about resting starters. It's hard to take everybody out. You only get 48 guys to go play on game day, so it's hard to take everybody out. But when we saw, where they were in that game, and they were up at a pretty big lead, so pulled out selected guys when I could.
Nico, when you look at Tommy and the way that everyone, the coaching staff and the locker room has talked about him and how he's been a quiet, unsung hero for this defensive line, how excited was it to see him get on the last play of the regular season and touchdown?
Yeah, there was a huge moment for our team, fitting way to end the game. Thought we would get Tommy. I told him on Friday, the team is going to go crazy when Tommy scores a touchdown. So we thought he's going to get in. Earlier in the game, he did it, but to close it out the way he did, getting in the end zone, that's why you saw our entire sideline running down, celebrating with Tommy. Fitting for a guy who does everything the right way. Everything you ask a guy to do, he's a coach's dream. He's always in the right place, always doing what you ask him to do, and very cool way for him to have that clutch moment and end the game with a touchdown.
Coach, can you talk about, you mentioned you pulled out several players and Davis Mills came in and really sort of closed it out. That, to me, that sort of added a crown to hit what he did for those 3 games when CJ was out. and then several other, backup players. But they sort of held the fort down just to keep that game when you could win it at the end.
When Davis, went in there, we were a little bit ahead of the 2-minute warning there at the end, and I told the guys it's time for a little Mills magic. Like, that's what he's done before. We've seen him, lead our team to victory there in 2-minute situations. So everyone was calm in the moment, understanding that we knew Davis would be able to make the plays to get us down. We wanted to get in range there to hit the field goal, and Davis did exactly that. We threw the ball, ran the ball, whatever we needed to do to gain yards. Davis was able to execute the offense in such a great manner to put us in position to win the game.
Well, Demeco, I know certainly you would have loved to have had a game that didn't come down to the very end like this, but then again, on the other side of that coin, how much does it help you with a back-and-forth game like this, getting ready for the playoffs, knowing how tight those playoff games are going to be?
As I told our guys after the game, we've been in all sorts of games, you name it. And what I'm most proud of is our guys find a way to finish, no matter if it's like it was today, in that fashion where you need a drive at the end, a 2-minute, you need to close it out. Hey, we can go do that. We're not shying away from any of those moments. That's the game of football. And you're never just going to line up and just blow everybody out. That's not realistic, but you got to persevere. No matter how it looks, you keep persevering, you keep making winning plays throughout the game, and you'll end up on top.
Wanted to see consistency from the offense coming into this week. How did you like how they performed there in the first half, the first team in particular, in the first half?
Yeah, I thought how many points did we have? Yeah, we had over 30 points. Again, I thought our offense did enough to get us down, score points. Just shout out to Emi. We can't be where we are right now without Emi and what he's been capable of doing. Right, to hit 6 field goals today, tied for his career high, tied for most field goals in NFL history in a season. Like, a lot of times I tell our guy, you take for granted when you have such a great kicker who's able to secure you points, right? Even if things don't go your way in the red zone, you want to score touchdowns every single drive, but it doesn't happen. You get in range, and you got a sure-footed kicker who can make those points. And we're so thankful for Emi and how he consistently has performed throughout this entire year.
Hey, Demeco, what's the mindset now as you guys get ready for the playoffs and going in as a wild card team? How do things kind of shift at this point?
Yeah, nothing shifts for us is when it comes to our mindset. Our mindset never changes. We don't turn it up because we're in the playoffs. We continue to grind out, put the work in, do what we have to do to practice really well throughout the week, no matter who our opponent is. We got to have a great week of practice, and that shows up, whenever that game is, how we work throughout the week, it'll show up then. So our process, our mindset doesn't change.
Demeco, when you don't have a guy like Nico out there, it's sometimes a little bit more challenging to get the ball spread out. But how pleased were you when it came to Xavier, Jalen, and Jaden stepping up with that?
All the guys did a great job at the receiver position when they had their number call. Like, all the guys did a great job catching the football, running after catch, making some plays. Hutch made a play. Higg was able to get a touchdown for us. Dalton, man, what a one-handed catch he made on third down. So multiple guys stepped up and made plays for us.
Apologies if you've already explained it, but with the CJ rushing touchdown in the second quarter, was the goal to get Tommy the ball on that play?
The goal was to score, baby. Touchdown.
Congratulations. All right, thanks. Good luck next week. All right.
Goal was the score, baby. We're not going to give you the ins and outs of that play with Tommy Togiai in the backfield, in which it appeared, at least on the broadcast, J.J. Watt thought that it was a busted play.
Well, he looked. Tommy Togiai, where's the ball? And then CJ ran it in.
Yes, recapping what Demeco had to say, basically acknowledging how dim it looked at the outset of this season. They did admit they were doing some scoreboard watching, and then once they realized the Jaguars game was out of hand, had to take everybody out. Called Tommy Togiai a coach's dream, and I told the guys when Davis Mills went in, it was going to be time for a little Mills magic.
Money Mills. And
there was a question about whether a game like this helps them for the playoffs, but later I think Demeco's answer was our mindset. Our mindset never changes. It doesn't matter postseason, regular season.
Every game counts the same.
They do. Well, playoffs count a little bit more.
I agree.
All right.
I'm saying the mentality.
I got you.
One week at a time.
I got
right?
you. And then something that I guess we didn't realize, we knew that Kaimi Fairbairn had a big game. I guess we didn't realize that he had 6 field goals. I guess I just didn't think to count them all up.
That's a lot of field goals.
It is a lot of field goals, which, as we continue to move along in this season, you just wonder when this lack of productivity, if you will, on offense will catch up to this team.
We don't know. Maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't. If they do just enough between the 20s.
I will say this. We've, for the last probably 10 weeks, said to ourselves, when is the offense going to wake up?
Yeah.
When are things going to click? I think things are as clicked as they're going to be.
Yeah, I think they've gotten a little bit better.
A little bit better, but I think they're as clicked as they're going to be. If this team's going to go deep in the playoffs, this is the formula. Not necessarily today, because there's a lot of, other factors not having everybody in the game, but it's going to be great defense, lots of field goals, and 1 or 2 touchdowns a game.
Mm-hmm. And then you hope that your defense can make a big play. And now let's go back to NRG to hear from the quarterback, C.J. Stroud.
Got a big lead on Tennessee. How did you feel when you found out, okay, you're done?
I wanted to keep playing. I feel like I was just getting in the groove. And, we had a rough first quarter, but I felt in the second quarter, we were moving the ball, scored in the red zone twice. Always, whenever I get the chance to play, I want to play as much as I can. So, but I understand why I wasn't able to. And, got to just move on.
What are your thoughts about 12-5 and moving on into the playoffs now and going to either Baltimore or Pittsburgh next week?
Yeah, for me, I just got to give God the glory, man. I think I look back at this year, I look back at my life, I look back at everything that I've been through. I know He's had His hand on me, even in times where it doesn't feel like it. But I think, just a testament of, you don't really learn on mountaintops. You really, most of the time, you learn in valleys. And I think, the Lord has, really had His hand on this team from, our head coach all the way down to, our players. And I think, I'm just really grateful that, God has put us together on this 2025-26 Texans team. And, we got the world ahead of us, but to go out and be 12-5 in the regular season, the best record I've had so far in the league, with the start we had, it's just been a blessing. I'm just really grateful to God that, I have my brothers and teammates to do it with.
Well, talking about that, do you not feel like that the testimony that you and Demeco and all the players are giving, that I know everybody says, oh, God doesn't care about football, but that He is blessing you guys because of the testimony that you're giving this season?
I think I don't want it to ever be confused. I don't think God is like the Texans are going to win. But I think regardless of win or loss, He gets the glory. And that's up to us, and that's just worship. And I think, Him giving us our talents, our abilities, and these jobs, He's more than worthy of all the worship. And that's just really why we do what we do. It's not because we want favor from the Lord, even though, that would be nice. But I think, in my opinion, you don't just get favor from the Lord because you just give Him glory, but He deserves it, and He's worthy of it. And I look back on my life, He's been faithful. But yeah, it's just not because we all follow Jesus that we just win every game. But regardless, and I think it shows the world when you lose and you do not doing well, how you profess your faith or you go about your life when things aren't going great is the testimony and really the testament of your faith and your journey and your witness to everybody else.
CD, you all were able to move the ball downfield there in the first half while y'all were there. Did you feel like y'all were able to accomplish what y'all set out to accomplish as an offense as you close out the season?
Yeah, I think we moved the ball really well. And even the first quarter, we just, I had the intentional grounding and missed a couple reads, and I think, there was a couple of those, in every aspect. And I think at the end of the day, we overcame it, and that's a good thing. But we got to get those things fixed, if we want to go win in the playoffs. And, I'm aware of that, and I think our coaches are, and I know everybody is here. So we're going to get those things fixed. And, but at the end of the day, it's all about finishing and getting wins. And I think the way we ended this game is a testament to how our season's kind of gone. A lot of up and down, but I think if you just stay faithful, you stay – and it's like I told y'all before, it's easy to have faith when it's easy, but when it gets a little hard, who has the real faith? And the work that we've put in, I think, we trust in one another, to get the job done.
CJ, forgive me if you already asked this, but on the touchdown run at the goal line when you ran it in for 2 yards, was that supposed to be a run for Tommy, or was that a design run for you to get on?
No, it was for Tommy. It was for Tommy. I felt bad because, it's always weird when you're under center and, they got some big boys over there. 9-0, he's a big guy. And he's breathing and, I'm I got to get out. I don't want to get my foot stepped on. And so I, skipped out. And Gerard was like, don't skip on this play because it's going to happen faster than you think. And so we only walked through. We didn't get a live rip, I don't think. But so I didn't skip, and then I went back to my human nature, and I skipped out and I missed him. And I felt so bad. I went over there and did 5 push-ups for him, but I'm good though. I'm good. We finished. He got his touchdown. Nobody can be bad at me anymore. But I'm just happy for my guy. I love Tommy. That's one of my Buckeye brothers. I've known Tommy since I was 18 years old. So he's a great player, but also a great human. I'm just really happy to see him really prevail in this league and have great seasons back to back.
Hey, CJ, I know you kind of answered it before, how this game is almost like the season, right? The way it ended on a high note after kind of starting rocky. How do you feel about going into the playoffs as a team this year as opposed to your first 2 years? How much more experience do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great. I think I was telling the Evan Washburn out there, just the experience that we do have from me having a little more experience to our defense, our offense, our special teams, our coaches, our front office, everybody. We know what it takes to win these games, and I mean that's just a really, really solid execution plan and executing the little things because, everybody thinks you go to the playoffs, you got to do all the extraordinary stuff. But it's really the ordinary the team that does the ordinary stuff better than the other team wins. And so I think, for me, I got to just take completions, take care of the ball. And I think when we look at the end of the game, whenever we play, we'll see our result and, see what happens there.
See, what do you think about with this team, just kind of overall, to be able to go on a 9-game winning streak and finish the way you all have been able to do? What does that really say about you guys overall as a team and what you all hope to be in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think, when we don't get in our own way, even though every game, somehow, some way, that's going to happen and on both sides of the ball. But I think when you look at how we're built, roster to coaches to, scheme, we're built tough. And I think, you look at in here, you got Swarm and, Relentless. And I think, that's, what we try to embody every game. And I think we finally bought into it. And I think as an offense, swarming looks different than defense swarm or special team swarm. I think we found that groove. And, I'm just excited, man. I'm really, motivated to, get going this next week. But I'm going to enjoy this win and enjoy this regular season and, get back to work tonight. And I'm excited to, go in the playoffs and, try to make some noise. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
And there you have it. We were just walking back after hearing from C.J. Stroud, like all of you at home. A lot to digest there from C.J. Stroud. He did admit it. He did admit it that play was for Tommy Togiai. He felt bad.
He did.
I'm bad.
happy he admitted it.
Yeah.
That was nice of him.
Yeah.
That was nice of him to admit that. Would have been cool to see Tommy Togiai get into the end zone.
Also says a team that does the ordinary stuff better wins in the playoffs. And that, I think, really will be something to look at moving forward. Can the Texans, not to, again, reiterate what CJ said, but he also mentioned when we don't get in our own way, we're built tough. And that's another thing. Can the Texans do the ordinary things well, and can this offense not get in its own way? And I don't know if we have an answer for those two questions or two statements.
Not yet, because we haven't seen it in that kind of environment with those kinds of stakes yet. I will say, with reducing the sacks, they've consistently won the turnover battle.
And running the football a bit better.
Running the football better. Those things have balanced this offense out. My concern continues to be, you run like 12 plays, you get 80 yards, and then you kick a field goal.
And then you get 3 points.
Right.
Yeah. Lots of people. Mickey, Swarm, JD, greatness. Larry says crazy. Mickey says fantastic. Lisa
right
says,
here.
wow, we had a swarm. Maria says love. Exciting from Mary. Stressful from Sybil. Fantastic from Carol. I think all of those really describe everything which we saw on another Sunday that results in a Texans win. Last word from you on this victory and moving forward. Okay.
Ravens.
Ravens?
That's my last
You
word.
want to see the Ravens?
I would rather see the Ravens.
Why?
I just think that going to Pittsburgh with the environment that it's going to be there, I think for all intents and purposes, you're going to get cold weather in either place.
Yeah.
I think that this is a Texans opportunity to make up for not beating the Ravens 2 years ago in Baltimore. And I think that they're going to feel like they have unfinished business. So I'm going to say that the storyline going into it is more motivating. That's my take on it.
Yeah, you're entitled to have it. I think it's a bit out there, but I mean, for me, if you're the Texans, you want to see an Aaron Rodgers who is, what is he, like 62 years old?
I don't know if I want to mess with Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
I don't know
And
if
that
I wanna mess
offense,
with
how
him.
clunky it is?
I just feel like
The
that.
Steelers' offense has been so clunky this season.
I just feel like I've seen that guy. He could be a bad guy. I don't know if I want to deal with him.
Wow.
I may be wrong. I probably am wrong. But I'm just saying, hey, look, I
The
don't know about
magic
that
of
guy.
Lamar Jackson, and granted, I know that he's been hurt this year, and the Ravens are not the Ravens of the past, but
I think this is the Texans' opportunity to take over that spot that the Ravens have held within the AFC.
what does Demeco always say about mobile quarterbacks, what the Texans need to do? It's a two-word answer.
Eye discipline.
Eye discipline. You can have a lot more eye discipline against a statue
True. Okay.
instead of Lamar
I
Jackson,
see what
who
you're
can
saying.
beat you in so many different ways.
They have
We saw
struggled.
Riley Leonard today, who is nowhere near on the level of Lamar
kind of
Jackson, who was able to move. And granted, I know there's not a lot of tape on Riley Leonard, but he was able to move. He had some running plays. He was able to throw long. And listen, it's one thing when you've got Aaron Rodgers sitting back there. Yes, he can move up in the pocket, and his feet are probably still Aaron Rodgers-ish. But listen, he is not the Aaron Rodgers. He is not the Dragon Slayer, the best quarterback in the NFL. He is far, far removed from that. So I'm just really shocked that you would say the Ravens.
I just feel like in this instance, everything you're saying is correct.
Okay.
Everything you're saying is correct. And I know that this is an out there take.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, listen, I don't want to take a chance with a guy who could have that one magical game.
Okay.
And I think that the Ravens are so buried right now that I just don't think they have it in them to
if they win
a
then
playoff game.
If they beat, this is a playoff game tonight for the Ravens.
They could win in a lot of
this is a
different
playoff
ways,
game
you know?
tonight for the
It
Ravens.
could be really. It's probably going to be really ugly. It's probably going to be like 12-9 or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
will be an ugly game.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. Either team is going to come
So-
out of this one bruised up.
So if the Ravens win 12-9, you'd rather face the team that scores 12 points instead of 9. All right.
I don't want to play Aaron Rodgers.
All
I
right.
don't know. It's just my feeling.
Listen, right now, none of it, it's all opinion. We'll find out tomorrow. Well, we'll find out tonight, obviously, but we'll hear how the Texans feel about their next matchup tomorrow on Monday. But, of course, much more tonight on everything involving the Texans, their win and what's ahead. Zach will be there. Reginald Atatula from Sports Radio 610 will be there. And, of course, Seth Payne from Sports Radio 610. Luis Ortiz will have a report from NRG following this 38-30 win, right? That was the score, right? 38-30. Yep, 38-30.
Yep.
And we'll have all of that and much more tonight on Sports Extra. Zach, thank you for all of your work during the regular season.
Of course.
Now it's time for everybody. Another gear. It's playoff time.
Swarm.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. As always, we appreciate you also chiming in. For Zach, I'm Jason. Till